Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video, as you read from the title, I'm going to be talking about horror films that I refuse to watch. So if you are new here, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more horror related content. And if you do enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. So this idea I am copying straight from Sarah, aka Possessed by Horror. She did a video talking about this. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the films on my list are also on her list as well. A lot of these are probably gonna be on any top disturbing horror film list that you can find, for good reason. I also think Emma from Spooky Astronauts has done some similar videos. I know she's definitely talked about top disturbing horror films. So this is just my own personal list, my own personal reasons. If you are somebody that believes that you have to be able to watch any and all of these films, or any and all things disturbing to be considered a true horror fan, you might as well click away now. Any negativity will not be put up with, and your comment will be deleted, and you will likely be blocked. So just don't even waste your breath. But for those of you who do decide to stick around, let me know your list of horror films that you refuse to watch, or even just your own list of most disturbing horror films that you've ever seen. So let's go ahead and just get into it. These aren't going to be in any particular order. I'm not going to be rating these because obviously I have not seen any of them, so I can't rate them. This is not going to be me reviewing. I'm not going to be including clips for understandable reasons. I will post up movie posters. You can kind of get an idea, but I'm not going to be including clips in this one. So for starters, I addressed this one when I did 101 Days of Horror. If you have not checked out that playlist, make sure to do so. And that is Cannibal Holocaust. This film was featured on that list. I think some other films on this list were also listed on that one as well. And I just refused to watch them. I refused to watch this film for a number of reasons. Not a fan of films that feature heavy sexual assault, which is a theme that you will definitely see within this list. So this one just automatically cuts it right off the top. Also, the known animal abuse. This film is pretty well known and pretty famous for the fact that it was basically banned across the board, and even the director was brought up on charges. And one of those is animal abuse, and I am just not interested in watching anything where animals are being brutally murdered, especially when they were done so in real life. For those who don't know, this film did actually lead to stricter regulations on use of animals in film, but unfortunately they're still not great. We still really need to crack down on that more, in my opinion. I really don't think Hollywood gives a shit, which is really sad and disappointing. So just knowing that those scenes are real, for me, I would not be able to stomach that, and I just have no interest in seeing it or putting myself through that type of torture. The next film on the list kind of goes along the same realm and is basically for the same reasons, and that is the Green Inferno. Now, obviously, this film is not quite as old as Cannibal Holocaust, but I feel like it's a film that is always compared or talked about in the same realm, and definitely is always featured on these disturbing lists. Another film that has sexual assault that I'm just not interested in. As far as I know, I don't really think there's any animal torture in this one. It's more human beings, but still just not interested. Not a film that I feel like I would be able to stomach. Third one is I Spit on Your Grave. Now, this one might be a little bit more surprising if you did watch my 101 Days list, because if you did, you know that I reviewed Last House on the Left, the original one, and I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was the worst, but I have heard that I Spit on Your Grave is much more intense. and even more graphic. I've heard that the rape scene in this one is much more intense, much more longer, and that is just not something that I am willing to sit through. I kind of talked about in my review for Last House that it was a lot more hyped up and I expected the scenes to be a lot longer, and I was glad that they weren't. But knowing that this one is known for having such an unnecessarily long rape scene, so that is just another one that I am gonna have to pass up on it in this light. Next film is one that I heard about because of Sarah's list, and that is Solo, or 100 Days of Sodom. This film is about a group of 9 adolescents who are kidnapped and then physically, mentally, and of course sexually tortured for 121 days. This is another one that was banned. It was banned in the UK for several years, and a lot of people like to try to say that this film is an art piece, that it looks into the psychology of the people doing the torture and the worst parts of human beings, but to me it just sounds like an exploitation, torture, literal porn film. And Sarah's willingness not to see it and add it to her list definitely means it made its way on to my list. Now, the next film on the list is probably, I would say, maybe the lightest of the films on this list. I will preface this by saying that I wouldn't necessarily never see this film. It is actually probably the only film on this list that I would be interested in seeing, but I just have not been able to bring myself to do it and don't know if I ever will, and that is Compliance. So Emma, aka Spooky Astronauts, has actually talked about this film as one of her most disturbing films, a film that she has said that just got stuck with her and that she refuses to watch again, and because of that makes it really hard for me to be able to bring myself to watch it. I feel like she has more of a tolerance when it comes to the weird and disturbing than I do, so the fact that this is a film that has hit her so emotionally, that it had such an intense impact on her, to me just speaks heavily. Really makes it hard to bring myself to watch it, and the fact that it is also maybe somewhat loosely but based on a true story. It follows the story of a young woman who is a fast food worker, and when her boss gets a call from someone claiming to be a police officer, puts her through all sorts of different forms of torture in an attempt to interrogate her. And of course this one features sexual assault as well, and just that alone in itself is enough. But like I mentioned, Emma's opinion on this one have definitely caused an impact on my inability to sit down and watch this one. Now, for the last film on our list, I feel like this is one that is not going to surprise anybody, and no matter what you say about this film, I know so many people have reviewed this one and said that you can look at it as an art piece, or that it's really not as bad, or it's just worth watching to have watched it. But I refuse. There's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can say. I won't say there's no amount of money you could pay me. You could probably maybe pay me enough, but it would have to be a lot of money, and that is a Serbian film. Again, probably no shock to anyone. I think that I've heard about this film, I've heard about particular scenes from this film. I've unfortunately seen imagery from this film that's been stuck in my head alone enough that I do not need to see the movie to know that I'm not going to enjoy this one. And it is not something that I'm willing to put myself through. I just know that I emotionally would not be able to stand what happens in this film. And in my opinion, it is just a straight up exploitation, torture porn. Literally, it is a porno film, and there is no one in this world that is going to convince me otherwise, and it's not a film that I feel like I need to subject myself to or put my time and energy into watching. So there you go, that is my list. I hope that you guys did enjoy this. Again, let me know your list in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on any of these films if you have seen them. Again, if you did enjoy this, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Before I go, a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you know the perks to being a patron, there are links in the description below along with all of my social media. And I'll see you guys again later with another video. Bye!